Hello, welcome to One on One. I am your host, Greg Walker. Our guest on this edition, I've had him on before, but now we're getting closer. As hot as it is, we're taping this show on July the 20th. You don't really feel like it's football season, but you know, football will be in the air before you know it, and it's right around the corner. And we have got Austin Peay State University's new head football coach, Will Healy, joining us today. We'll talk with the coach about the upcoming season, the Ohio Valley Conference, get his thoughts, opinions, and comments on a wide array of subject matter. Settle back, relax, enjoy a fun, down-to-earth conversation. Nice young man. I think he's going to be a great coach. Will Healy joins us right after these words.
Thank you. It's the great savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. $7,500 off a new Altima. $7,500 unbelievable. $6,500 off a new Rogue. $5,200 off a new Maxima. New Versa $9,999. Save big on $400 new. You're going to love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has honored legacies. We believe every family deserves a special time of celebrating a life well lived.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome to our show today. Austin Peay State University head football coach Will Healy in the house.
Good to be back.
Good to have you back. I got a lot of good compliments on you when you were on before, you know, and we talked about your background. Chattanooga guy.
Chattanooga, yeah. My mom and dad got a chance to watch it too, so everybody was bragging on you back home. You're a celebrity in Chattanooga now.
I bet. I bet I am. You're a celebrity here.
Well, I don't think so.
You know, hey.
Not like you are. I'm just trying to ride your coattails.
Yeah, right. I tell you what, let's talk about first. We was talking about a lot of things, and of course, what is it, August 6th?
August the 6th will be the first practice. The guys will check into the dorms on August the 5th and handle all the paperwork and all that kind of stuff, but it's getting close. It's hard to believe it's already here.
It really is. This is July 20th when we're taping this, by the way, so if it's played at a later date, you know when we actually did this show. And then August 6th, and the first game is September the 3rd.
September 3rd at Troy.
How about spring? How did it go overall?
You know, I thought it went well. You're trying to teach them how you want to practice, the tempo, the intensity, the energy. You're trying to make sure that the organization amongst coaches is where you want it. You know, for us, it was really big on practicing game-like situations. I've got an offensive coordinator who's never called plays before in a game. I've got two defensive coordinators who hadn't really called plays before, so trying to make sure we had, you know, we used the headsets and we had all that communication going, and we tried to create unscripted, you know, scrimmages and situations. Yeah, and situations, and how do we handle them? And you know, I wanted to communicate with them, hey, this is a 4-down situation, or hey, it's 2 minutes, and when do we call a timeout? When do we not call a timeout? So trying to make practices as game-like as possible for not only the players but for our staff.
And that's wise to do that. You have to be on the same page. And clock management is essential in a game today.
Absolutely. It is. And I feel like every time you go through a 2-minute situation, the last 2 minutes of the game or the last 2 minutes of the half, you learn something new. should we have called a timeout in this situation? And I even do it off the cuff. I don't script it and say, all right, I'm going to go 1 minute and 50 seconds with 2 timeouts right here. I try to just come up with it on the field and make it as spur of the moment as possible and have to think through the situation.
Because you know as well as I, Les Miles is really as great a coach as he is at LSU. Man, he takes more criticism because of clock management than anything.
And Dooley had the same, issues whenever he was at Tennessee.
Yes, he did.
I think it can get to everybody. And, there's, again...
Actually, Green had some of those issues also at Tennessee.
Absolutely. So you're trying to watch as many college football games. Like I find myself now watching classic college football games, and they get to the last 2 minutes of the half, and you say, all right, how would I handle this situation? When would I call the timeout? When would I try to? So you're thinking through a lot more of those possibilities now.
Now, Will's just 31 years old. He only started shaving last year.
Last week.
Oh, was it last week?
Last week, yes, sir.
Now, you were a quarterback, though. You've always wanted to be basically a coach. You've got a coach's mind. Your family is sports-oriented. So even though you're young and even though this is your first stop, I think you are a little wiser, say, than the normal 31-year-old head coach. How about that?
I appreciate that.
I think so.
I think I'm wiser because I got a great staff.
Well, you got to have.
And that's why I feel like we're in a great position, is that I sit in staff meetings and just am so confident in what we're doing on both sides of the ball and on special teams. And
well, let's take this opportunity. You talk about your staff. A lot of times we don't talk about them enough. Go over your staff and just let the people know just a little bit about each one.
Yeah, Marcus West is our assistant head coach and co-defensive coordinator. Marcus and I were together for 7 years at Chattanooga, played at the University of Memphis, played in the National Football League for the Colts for a while, and he's coaching our defensive line as well. I think he's unbelievable. Wes Satterfield is our offensive coordinator. Wes and I worked together for 2 years at Chattanooga. He was the run game coordinator at Southeast Louisiana last year. Coached at Ohio State, North Carolina. So he's been a lot of different places. Brandon Cooper's co-defensive coordinator, also coaches our safeties. We worked together at Chattanooga. He was at Murray last year. He played at UT Martin, has been at Jacksonville State was at Jacksonville State for a couple years before that. Josh Ergel is our offensive line coach and run game coordinator. Josh was the head coach at East Texas Baptist. Josh, Marcus, and Ryan Ivey all played together at Memphis, so there was a connection there, and he's been perfect for us. We've needed that physicality and mentality that he's brought to the table. Max Thurman is our linebackers coach, special teams coordinator. Max was at Jacksonville State for a long time, played against him for many years whenever I was at Chattanooga, and he was at West Alabama this past year. Needed that special teams aspect, and he's perfect for that. J.D. Sellers played at Austin Peay, has been here for the last 5 years coaching. He's coaching running backs for us. Knows everybody in the community. He's a superstar himself, and he was the only holdover we had from the last staff. He's been great for us. Hired Todd Pinkston. Todd's the celebrity of the staff.
I want him on the show.
I'll get him on here. I'll make sure we fit you in his busy schedule. He played with the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl with McNabb and Terrell Owens, and he's been awesome. He's a rising star in this profession. Eddie Hicks is our corners coach. Eddie was at Murray last year coaching corners. I think he is an absolute another rising star. He's so beneficial for us on the defensive side of the ball, and he'll climb this ladder of this profession very quickly. Carter Crutchfield is our director of football operations and recruiting coordinator. He was at Chattanooga with me. We hired Ryan Wallace. He's our tight ends coach. Ryan was at Western Kentucky coaching tight ends this past year. Ryan's dad is actually the head coach at Bowling Green High School in Kentucky. And then we've got a couple guys that we've adding support. Patrick Ashford was a holder at Tennessee this past year, backup quarterback. He'll be a graduate assistant for us. And then we've got a couple other guys that are jumping on board on staff that will be in volunteer positions. But I sit in our staff meeting and just feel great about the direction we're heading there.
Well, it definitely sounds like you got the numbers handled. Anyway.
Yeah, I do. Got great support, got great help. And I think they're all great football coaches, but even better people.
Well, that helps also. And you have confidence. Is this staff meshing together pretty good? I know it takes a while.
It happened overnight. I mean, honestly, it is the closest knit staff that I've ever been around.
Really?
I mean, our families are very close. Our wives are close. Our kids are close, and I just love spending time around them. Not only that, but I also feel so good about. I think anytime as a new head coach, you're going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
But I know at the end of the day, every one of these guys is going into a meeting and saying, we need to have confidence that this is the right guy for the job. There's no, the ulterior motives.
They have your back.
They've got my back. And, it's the best advice. I told you this the last time I was on here. Best advice I got when I got this job is Mike London told me, hire people who won't let you fail.
Amen.
And that's what I did.
Amen. Let's say before we end this segment, of course, Austin Peay season tickets, and I'm going to tell you, this is going to be a special year. I don't expect them to set the world on fire with wins, but I expect improvement. I think we're going to see a fun team and see a team improve, and that's what you have to do as a fan. You have to watch the growth as the season goes on. We're going to put on the screen the ticket office number if you would like season tickets. 931-221-P, I believe, P-E-A-Y-P. And I'm going to tell a quick story. A friend of mine, I won't say his name, but he said, I wouldn't go watch Austin Peay play football if they were playing across the street. Good friend of mine. He bought season tickets this year. Will called him at home. I don't know if it was the canned recording you had or you, but whatever, and asked him if he would buy season tickets, and he said, I'm sold. I like him. I'm buying them. He bought them for his family. Season tickets. You can too. Just give that number a call. Head coach Will Healy joins us. He's in the house today. Back with segment 2 after this.
The Leaf Chronicle is now available on every device you carry or don't carry. All things Clarksville in all media 24/7. Subscribe now for full access.
For 100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchman Funeral Home has offered ways to live well and plan ahead, a legacy that can make all the difference to your family.
Neil Tarpley Parchman, people who care, a name you can trust.
Welcome back. Segment 2 today with the head coach at Austin Peay State University, Will Healy, in his first season as the Governor's head man, and looking forward to a great season for the Governors. And when I say great, my expectations, Will, I'm a realist. You got a lot of work ahead of you. Well, everybody knows that, but I love that he loves his staff, and he's got some quality people. I don't think it's any doubt. Now, you do get left with a murderous schedule, though. A schedule that, honestly, if I'm the head coach, I wouldn't like at all. But you got to play what you got. And let's just talk about the schedule a little bit, okay?
All right.
Open up at Troy. Money game, Troy, Alabama, known. I mean, now, Troy and Austin Peay used to be even up playing. They were even great back then, always had a great band. But Troy's a different bird now.
Yeah, they hired Neil Brown that was at Kentucky a couple years ago. I think Neil is now in his second season. You can watch him on film and see how much they've improved. They've always had great athletes at Troy, but I think schematically he's doing a great job. He's one of the young, up and coming hot coaches in the country, and they're really good. They can run to the football. They're dynamic on offense, so that'll be a tough test out of the gate.
Now, the Govs' first home game, the home opener, will be September the 10th. They play Troy on the 3rd. Tennessee Tech's coming in. That's Austin Peay Family Day. This is a game certainly you would love to win.
Yeah, I mean, first conference game, first home game of the new era, and I know Marcus Satterfield and I work together at Chattanooga, and I know he's doing a great job there. He's doing the same thing that we're trying to do here, and with creating energy about a program and a buzz about a program, and he's done that. I think Marcus will do a great job. I think that'll be a very tough game. When you go back and look at their schedule last year, I mean, they won some good football games and were close in a lot of other ones.
Yes,
so they're not far away.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty talented, and I think Marcus will get them coached up. So that'll be a very tough game, but obviously, yeah, you'd love to win that one.
The next game is Eastern Illinois on the road, excuse me. You'll have a week off prior to playing Eastern Ill, and that's in Charleston, Illinois. And to be honest with you probably need a week off after those first two to get ready for those guys.
Yeah, and I think Eastern Illinois is really good.
Yeah, they are.
I think that guy does a great job, Kim, over there. So
they're picked first, second, third, fourth every year.
They got great players, and was just at media day with them. They've got a lot of hype around them. So be another tough opponent for us.
Game 4 will be October 1st. Murray State comes in. That's Local Heroes Day, the pink game. That'll be an afternoon 4 p.m. game here in Clarksville. And, of course, I don't have to tell you about Austin Peay Murray.
I think Mitch Stewart is phenomenal. We've got two guys on our staff that were with him last year. They've got a senior quarterback that is an NFL prospect, and they do some really good things on offense. So we'll be I mean, there's not one of them that we're going to go through that I don't think is a tough test.
Sure. So, I don't think so either.
To the mix. It'll be a lot of fun to play that one.
Right. Next game's on the road, the 8th of October at UT Martin. In Martin, afternoon game. They're always pretty tough.
Yeah, Jason Simpson's really good. And that program, they came to Chattanooga in, I guess it was 2013, and we ended up winning the conference that year, and they got after us. They beat us at home, and we were preseason top 5 in the country, and Jason's just kept it going from there. So I know they just redid their stadium, so they'll be fired up about that. I think it'll be done by then, and another great contest for us.
Well, the next week is a special team. 15th of October, you go to Jacksonville State, a 1 o'clock p.m. game in Jacksonville, Alabama. Finished second in the nation last year. They're going to be great again, I assume. What do they have coming back?
Senior quarterback.
He's great.
Just took a 5-star.
He's talented.
He is. He's the best
beautiful
player in the league.
Yes,
yeah.
he is.
Just took a 5-star running back from Auburn. I mean, they're getting the same type of transfer quality that they've gotten in the past. So they're locked and loaded, and I think they'll be a front runner again to make it back to the national championship.
Next week, homecoming game. Mercer, here in Clarksville. You say Mercer, believe me, that's not a crip at all. As a matter of fact, I believe the Govs, I'm trying to think. No, yeah, last year got beat 28-7 last year here to Mercer, and they're coming back.
Yeah, Mercer was in the Southern Conference with us last year at Chattanooga, and we were ranked number 3 in the country, and they beat us. Bobby Lamb is the head football coach there that was at Furman, and he's, they're in year 4, I believe, of a program, and every year they get better. So they're very talented, and they keep upgrading. They just took the quarterback from from Vanderbilt, the guy that started games for them, number
Really?
7. That he's got 2 years left, and so they're good players.
Good runner, good athlete, not the greatest passer in the world. Then the 29th of October in Cape Girardeau, SEMO, Southeast Missouri. What's SEMO going to have this year?
I think they're picked top 3 in the conference.
Really?
And they are they're talented. They're good. They'll be another team that'll probably be that second tier that'll have a shot to win the conference.
Next game should be a packed house. November the 5th, Military Appreciation Day in Clarksville. Tennessee State rolls in, the Big Blue. The Tiger Band will be here along with the Governor Band. Whoo, the atmosphere for that one. Cold chills, Coach. That's a football atmosphere when the Tigers come in.
Yeah, and they get off the bus and look as pretty as anybody in the country.
They do, buddy.
They've got a bunch of NFL guys that are on their roster. And
I think they're picked too low this year in the conference.
yeah, I think Rod is disappointed in that. But again, all that stuff doesn't mean anything once you hit the game field.
And then the last game of the year, tough. The Colonels of Eastern Kentucky roll in November the 12th to Clarksville. Eastern Kentucky, OVC football. They're one of the best year in, year out.
Well, you look at them last year, and they were up 14 points on Kentucky with about 10 minutes to go in the game, and let that one slip away in overtime. But fired Dean Hood and hired Mark Elder, who was the tight ends coach at Tennessee last year. Have hit the jackpot on some transfers. Took Matty Mock out of Missouri,
and he's tough. I mean, he's not great. He's just tough.
Yeah, and so
he's a player.
They are the sleeper, in my opinion, to win the thing.
I agree. You named it. They are the sleeper. And you end the season the 19th of November by visiting Lexington, Kentucky, playing Stoops and the Wildcats. And Stoops feels like he's got a bowl team this year.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. You go to Kentucky the last game of the year, which will be a great atmosphere for our guys to play in.
You know, they could be playing that game for a bowl game also.
Absolutely. So be another tough test. When you look down at the schedule and you start talking about all the teams, I'll be shocked if it's not a top 10 toughest schedule in FCS football.
It'd have to be.
So our work's cut out for us. It is what it is, and we'll go compete and see what happens.
Well, main thing, we got to had a great recruiting year.
We did.
Number one in some people's regards in this in the FCS.
Had the anywhere between 3 and 7 in the country, and number 1 in the OVC. So they're living up to expectation. A bunch of them are on campus right now, and
you tell me you feel that a lot of them are going to be able to compete.
Yeah, quick. I do. I think adding them to the mix, one, provides us with some depth, but I think there's a couple of them that will have shots to start for us right away. So I'm not going to play them just because they're part of our recruiting class and because they're freshmen and we can take our time. I mean, I want to win now. So we're going to tell, all of them are put in the same boat. They got to show us what they can do, and they got 29 practices to prove it. Will Healy, head football coach, Austin Peay. Going to be an exciting year. Don't forget your tickets. Back after this.
Thank you. It's the great savings event at Matthews Nissan in Clarksville or MatthewsNissan.com. $7,500 off a new Altima. $7,500 unbelievable. $6,500 off a new Rogue. $5,200 off a new Maxima. New Versa $9,999. Save big on $400 new. You're gonna love our prices.
I'm Gary Matthews, and that's my guarantee.
You're gonna love our prices. Matthews Nissan.
100 years, Neil Tarpley Parchment Funeral Home has celebrated legacies with services as unique as each life.
Neil Tarpley Parchment, people who care, a name you can trust.
About 3 minutes left with the head coach of the Austin Peay Governors, Will Healy. And don't forget, opening game will be September the 3rd at Troy. Home opener, September 10th. Get your season tickets by calling 931-221-PEAY, P-E-A-Y. Get those season tickets. I got some general admission season tickets, by the way, that will be for sale as well on the visitor side. I used to sit over there a lot. I liked it over there. Coach, I want to ask you, we've talked about, I know your philosophy basically, and the folks, we can touch on it, but you've seen them in spring. You got 29 fall practices. How is your philosophy and the talent on hand? Are they going to mesh, or are you going to have to swing to change your philosophy a little bit because of the talent on hand?
Yeah, I think we have some talented football players. I think when you add this group of 26 freshmen coming in, obviously we feel great about them or we wouldn't have recruited them. So I think there's spots where we need to add depth. I think there's spots where we're not where we need to be athletically yet. So, you know, quarterback's a great example. I don't know who's going to start a quarterback for us. I don't know.
You got about 5, don't you?
Right. We do have we have a good selection. So I don't know if we're going to be more drop back pass. I don't know if we're going to be more quarterback run friendly. I feel comfortable in finding ways to win games in either one of them. But, you know, so we're going to see how camp plays out and which one gives us the best chance to win, and then we'll kind of cater an offense around him. I think, in my opinion, right now, looking at what we have on film, we're in our schedule. I mean, that's the much more important part of it. We're going to have to find ways to be creative and to take some chances. And
you got to force turnover.
You do. I don't think there's any doubt. I think you've got to keep people on their toes offensively with some trick plays. And, you know, I think we'll be, you know, maybe we have a drop back pass quarterback this year. I think down the road what I would love to be able to recruit is more of a spread option type quarterback. And I don't know whether that's this year or whether that's down the road. I think what we would love to be able to do is get pressure with our front 4 defensive linemen and not have to blitz as much. But I don't, you know, we'll see how camp goes. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. We may take some more chances and put some of those guys on islands on the outside, which I think we're capable enough of holding up out there. I think one of our strengths is our secondary. So we may take some chances. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to see if we can't get some people tight in the fourth quarter and pull some upsets.
Been great.
Enjoyed it.
As always enjoy having you, Coach.
Thanks
really
for having
do. Don't forget, work on that kicking game. You know how I am. Field position, and we got to be able to kick field goals.
Absolutely.
Got to. Head Coach Will Healy. Don't forget your season tickets for Steve Sawyer, for yours truly. Until next time, have a nice rest of the day, folks.